Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
Most High in Christ bless.
Most High in Christ bless.
My name is Yakanah Maccabees.
My name is Shanikel.
And this is Mikael.
And today's lesson is the 7-day Sabbath calendar versus the Lunar Sabbath calendar. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go through this Bible and we're going to show you that the 7-day Sabbath was established from the beginning and not the Lunar Sabbath calendar, meaning that the first day of the week is not the same as the first day of the month. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through this Bible and hopefully we'll edify you, because this is a dangerous doctrine that is in Israel right now, and this keeps you from holding your foot from the 7-day Sabbath. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this Bible, and as always we like to start off with the book of John, chapter 8, verse 32.
John chapter 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
And the truth is, the 7-day Sabbath calendar, it was established from the beginning of time. There's no way around it. There's no other way around it. And we're going to show you conclusively by going through this Bible, and that's how it has been from the beginning. From there, we're going to go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 10. And it reads, For precept must be upon precept. For precept must be upon precept, line upon line upon line, here a little and there a little. And we're going to show you by going line upon line, here a little and there a little, that it has always been established as a 7-day Sabbath. We're not saying that the Lunar Sabbath isn't a high holy Sabbath. We're not saying that the new month you shouldn't be keeping it as a Sabbath day, but we're going to show you that the 7-day Sabbath is not established from the new month. From there we're going to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 16.
And Slaka, let's explain why we're doing this lesson, because there's groups of Israelites that keep the Lunar Sabbath. The Lunar Sabbath is where they believe that the Sabbath counts depends on the position of the moon. And when the moon occurs, and they count 7 days from when the so-called new moon is, and that's their Sabbath day. So according to them, the Sabbath day one month could be on Tuesday, the next month could be on Wednesday, another month could be on Sunday. It's every day of the week, which is it changes every month, which is confusion.
Let alone that, they have something called transitional days. And these transitional days, they're not allocated in the Bible anywhere in Scripture. And it as is, when you keep these Lunar Sabbath, that these 2 days never existed. So that means you can have a 5-day week here or there, or a 6-day week here or there. And there's no way in Scripture where the Sabbath isn't held on the 7th day. From there we're going to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 16 through 9, and it reads, And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them.
And that's the first mistake where people are going off keeping these lunar calendars. They're putting the lesser light above the greater light. These are, the sun and moon is like a clock where you have an hour hand and a minute hand. And it's the hour hand which dictates the time, and which leads, and the minute hand follows behind. So you put more emphasis on the moon in telling time over the sun, when the Most High's calendar is a solar calendar and not a lunar calendar. We're going to show you one later in the lesson, expose some of the flaws in the lunar calendar and how it shortchanges you days in the year following the lunar calendar.
And God made the 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Verse 17. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So how could the lunar Sabbath be established? The first day of the week be established by the moon when the moon and the sun weren't even created until the fourth day. That makes no sense at all right there. And we should be able to end that lunar Sabbath doctrine once and for all with that verse, but we're going to take the time to expound and further edify by going through the precepts.
And the fourth day of the week is known as Wednesday in today's language, or the midst of the week in Hebrew.
Come. From there we're going to go to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 20. And we're going to pick it up at verse 5. Slakia.
And it's interesting that people that keep the lunar calendar, the first passage they go to is 1 Samuel chapter 20, because this is the first part of the Bible that lists or that has new moon in it. So to try to prove their doctrine, they skip over all of Torah and go straight to 1 Samuel chapter 20. So we're going to read it and break it down.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 5. And David said unto Jonathan, Behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to set with the king at meat. But let me go, that I may hide myself in the field the third day at even.
Okay, so when we look at our King James Bible, most of our Bible translations, it says tomorrow is the new moon. But one thing we got to do is realize that these English Bibles are just Bible translations. And we got to use the tools we have available today, go into our Strong's Concordances, and look behind the words to see what to verify if that's what the word is. And when you look at the word moon, the word is Kadash. There is two translated words for moon in the English language. First one is Yeriach, Strong's H3394, which is Yeriach, and the other one is Strong's H2320, which is Kadash.
Okay.
And in this passage, 1 Samuel 20 is referencing Strong's H2320, which is Kadash, and Kadash means month.
Okay.
I want you to read verse 18 now.
Verse 18. Then Jonathan said to David, Tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty.
Right, and verse 24 also.
Verse 24. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat.
So when we read our King James Bible, see the new moon, like, oh, so new moon's in the Bible then, so we should be looking for the new moon. Now to edify this, I brought my His Word Scriptures. His Word stands for Hebrew Israelite Scriptures. This is a recently translated Bible by Hebrew Israelite scribe Jediah Malek. Shalom to you, brother.
Shalom.
And he corrects the mistranslations. I want Yakanan to read those same verses. 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 5, 18, and 24 out of His Word Scriptures.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 20, verse 5. His Word Scriptures, King James Version. And Dawid said unto Jonathan, Behold, tomorrow is the new month.
New moon?
New month.
Come on.
And I should not fail to set with the king at meat.
So that's the correct translation. New month, not new moon. And we're going to bring out some passages in Torah too to back it up.
But let me go, that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at even. Verse 18. Then Jonathan said to David, Tomorrow is the new month, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. Verse 24. So Dawid hid himself in the field, and when the new month was come, the king sat him down to eat meat.
So remember, the Hebrew word for moon is Uriah, but they got Kodash, which means new month. And new month means the first of the month.
That's right.
So now let's go to Torah to expound on it more, on the new month. We can go to Numbers chapter 10, verses 1 to 2.
The book of Numbers, chapter 10, verse 1 and 2. The book of Numbers, chapter 10, verse 1 and 2. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Make thee 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camps.
So we know that trumpets were very instrumental at the new month, beginning of the month, to assemble all the Israelites together. Let's go to verse 9.
Verse 9. And if we go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies.
Alright, so at the time of war, when you're being attacked by the enemy, you blow the shofar, the trumpet, to round the troops up.
Verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginning of your months.
In the what?
In the beginning of your months.
This is your new month.
In the beginning of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your God. I am Yahweh, your God.
So just like we try to assemble and gather together for the feast days, the beginning of the Most High's months, not Esau's months, but the Most High's months, like our brother Haim, y'all, and Judah Knights do, our days that we're supposed to be gathering together as a congregation also.
That's right.
And also, as another witness, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 1. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord your God, for in the month of Abib the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord Yahweh of the flock and the herd in the place which the Lord shall choose to place his name there.
So why did the Most High call Israel to gather at the beginning of the months? So they could be on accord for the feast days. Like in the first part of the month of Abib, which is the New Year, if you know that this is the first of the month, and Israel gathers, then they know that 14 days after the first of the month is Passover, then the 15th day is Feast of Unleavened Bread, or in the 7th month, or the month known as Tishri according to the Bible, you gather together for the Feast of Trumpets. And then you know that 15 days later, you have the Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, and then on the 22nd, you have the Feast of Tabernacles. So it's important to gather at the beginning of the months so all of Israel can be on the same accord going into the feast days and holy days in the scriptures.
Okay.
So remember those Hebrew words. Uriah is talking about the moon, which is up in the air, and Kodesh is a mistranslation. It's new month,
Okay.
not new moon. There's no instructions throughout the Bible showing you how to number the Sabbath according to the moon.
Not at all.
We'll find it in the Bible, in the Apocrypha. We got the Dead Sea Scrolls, Zondervan Bible Dictionary. There's no instructions on how to do that. And we know Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 2 says, do not add or diminish from the word.
Okay. From there we're going to go back to 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 27. The book of 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 27. And it reads, and it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan, his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to me, neither yesterday nor today. So the yesterday was the first day of the month, and in verse 27, it was the second day of the month. So what we're going to do is further expound by going to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 21, and we're going to pick it up and we're going to read 1 through 6. And the book of 1 Samuel chapter 21, verse 1 through 6. Then King David to Ahimelech the priest, and Ahimelech was afraid at the meeting of David, and said unto him, Why art thou alone, and no man with thee? And David said unto Ahimelech the priest, that the king hath commanded me a business, and hath said unto me, Let no man know anything of the business whereabout I send thee, and what I have commanded thee, and I have appointed my servants to such and such a place. Now therefore, what is under thine hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in mine hand, or what there is present. And the priest answered David and said, There is no common bread under mine hand, but there is hallowed bread. If the young men have kept themselves at least from women. And David answered the priest and said unto him, Of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days.
6 days.
3 days. Since I came, and the vessels of the young men are holy, and the bread is in manner common. Yea, though it were sanctified this day in the vessel. So the priest gave him hallowed bread, for there was no bread there but the showbread that was taken from before the Lord to put hot bread in the day when it was taken away. So right there, the 3rd day, it shows you that it was the Sabbath. Because on the Sabbath day is when they put new showbread in for the priest, and only the priest ate the showbread, and they weren't even allowed to touch the showbread unless they were clean, or unless you was a holy person. So they gave them the old showbread, and then they wouldn't put new showbread.
So this will be like the 3rd or 4th day of the month, 3 days after the new month. That's around the 3rd day of the month. And according to the lunar Sabbath, the Sabbath is on the 8th day of the month, the 15th day, the 22nd day of the month, and the 29th day of the month.
And it can't be 3 days and then the Sabbath. God sanctified the 7th day and made the 7th day the Sabbath, not the 3rd day the Sabbath. And to further expound on that, we're going to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 35, verse 1 through 13. The book of Exodus, chapter 35, verse 1 through 13. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together, and said unto them, These are the words which Yahweh hath commanded that ye should do. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest. To the Lord whosoever doeth work there shall be put to death. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. And Moses spake unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord commanded, saying, Take ye from among you an offering unto Yahweh. Whosoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it an offering of the Lord, gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, and badger skins, and gin wood, and oil for the light, and spices, for anointing oil, and for the sweet incense, and onyx stones, and stones to be set for the ephod, and for the breastplate. And every wise-hearted among you shall come and make all that the Yahweh have commanded. The tabernacle, his tent, and his covering, his taches, his boards, his bars, his pillars, his sockets, the ark and the staves thereof, with the mercy seat and the veil of the covering, the table, his staves, and his vessels, and the showbread.
That's right.
So the showbread was prepared on the Sabbath day.
Or for the Sabbath, prepare for the Sabbath.
Correct. So that right there, it proves that the third day that David was away from Saul was the Sabbath day. That's 3 days after the new month or the new moon.
And that's not hard to understand either. The scriptures make it clear.
From there, we're going to go to the book of 2 John, chapter 1, verse 6.
Alright, I got it. This is 2 John chapter 1, verse 6. And this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment that ye should have heard from the beginning.
No, you just heard it. It says the book of Exodus.
Now the Bible says, this is the commandment that ye have heard from the beginning.
So you have heard this commandment from the beginning. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. 6 days shall you work, and the 7th day shall you keep it holy. That's how it's written. It ain't my stuff. The book of Genesis means the beginning.
That's right.
Last I checked came before the Exodus. When the new month was established during the month of Abib, and we started counting times by the moon, which was the month.
God. Let me finish this, and it says, ye should walk in it.
So that means you were taught to walk in this commandment from the beginning.
God.
From there, we're going to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to year.
But I thought New Year was in the fall around what the rats call Rosh Hashanah.
This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to year.
I'm going to go over what the Bible says over what man says.
So when they did the Exodus, that was the beginning of the counting of months. That's common sense.
And I want to bring this from the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Bring it out.
Arak Shalom to Miguel Issachar. He asked, so when does Abib start? So let me see if I can find this passage from the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is page 407 from the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is priestly service on New Year's Day. This is section 4Q 330. It says, the first portion of the present work records the name of the priestly court service in the temple on New Year's Day. New Year's Day, according to the Qumran calendars, fell on the first day of Nisan, which is another name for Abib. I think that's like a pagan name for Abib, which equates to about March 20th or 21st in modern terms. This was the day of the vernal equinox. This was the day of the vernal equinox. Even the proper counting of New Year's Day was a matter of strife among the temple Jews. So around March 20th, around the vernal equinox, is when the month of Aviv starts. That's why, let me bring out Genesis 1:14 again.
I got you.
Okay. Genesis 1:14.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let there be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
Okay, Khan, so it's important to use this moon and the sun to tell the time where we know when the sun sets, a new day starts. And the seasons, when spring season comes in, that's the New Year, that's a B. So we got to learn how to read the seasons and pay attention to the vernal equinox to know when the New Year comes in.
Okay.
Alright, next I want to go to the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. We're going to show you the flaws and the shortcomings going by the lunar calendar. And hopefully give some edification out. I'm using the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, page 98 to 99. This is section 4 under calendar. This says the Jewish calendar had 2 concurrent years. The sacred year beginning in the spring with the month of Nisan, and the civic year beginning with Tishri. Now we know these are the fake Jews. The Most High never commanded to bring no New Year's in the month of Tishri, which is the 7th month. So it says the sacred year was instituted by Moses and consisted of lunar months of 29 and a half days each, with an intercalary month called Ada Shinai every 3 years. So a lunar month is 29 and a half days. When you can go by the lunar months, when you multiply 29 and a half days by 12, what do you get?
It's 354 days.
And if you multiply by 37, well, maybe the calendar's 13 months, so you multiply 29 and a half days of the lunar month by 13, you get 383 days. So you're going off by the lunar calendar, so you're short 10 days a year going by the lunar calendar.
Let alone that
64 days in the calendar.
Don't the lunar Sabbath calendar, it puts the Feast of Weeks in July. That's foolishness. In July, the fruit will be bursting. It will be falling to the floor overripe. It makes no sense.
It's totally off, and we know that the Most High is not an author of confusion. But when you go outside the Bible, you're creating confusion.
Okay. From there, we're going to go to the book of Exodus.
And let me click on this. So to compensate for being short 10 days, the Jews, the Jewish people, whoever keeps these lunar calendars, have to add a month in every 3 years to compensate for the lost time of losing 10 days every year to adjust the calendar. I want to read this real quick from the Dead Sea Scrolls also. This is page 39. It says, accordingly, 12 lunar months equals 354 days. Each year, the lunar calendar falls 10 days behind the solar calendar. At the end of 3 lunar years, with the 2 calendars now 30 days out of the kilter, the difference is made good. So they add a month to the calendar every 3 years, which is nowhere in Torah that the Most High instructed us to have to go that route. Just as Esau today adds a leap year to compensate for his 365 days, here people that follow the lunar year have to add a whole damn month in to compensate to get the calendar back on track. It's totally off.
From there, we're going to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 31, verse 14 through 16. The book of Exodus, chapter 31, verse 14 through 16. And it reads, "Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death."
Wait, what happens if you defile the Sabbath?
You shall be surely put to death.
So this is life and death. If you choose to keep the Sabbath around, this is something that you should not take lightly.
And that's why this doctrine is so dangerous. It's keeping you from withholding. It's making you withhold your foot from keeping the Sabbath. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his peoples. In verse 15, it reiterates, 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest. Holy to Yahweh, whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. In 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God.
So you can live a real righteous life, keep most of the 600 laws to a T, but if you're keeping the lunar Sabbath and you're breaking the 7-day Sabbath, which the Most High instituted, you can miss out on the kingdom.
That's right.
Because those are just regular days. Let me bring out that one passage in Genesis real quick. Genesis 2:3. This is why you have to get the Sabbath right. Not every day is the same. This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rest from all his work which Elohim created and made. So Saturday, the seventh day of the week, is blessed and sanctified by the Most High God.
That's right.
Tuesday, Wednesday, every day of the week is just a regular day that is not sanctified by the Most High. So it's important to keep the Sabbath day, so you can be in good standards and grace with the Most High.
From there, we're going to go to the book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 32 through 36. The book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 32 through 36. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron, and unto all the congregation. And they put him inward, because it was not declared what should be done with him. And Yahweh said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death.
Wait, what should he do for picking up sticks on the Sabbath?
The man shall be surely be put to death.
But the Sabbath doesn't matter. Christ died on the cross, did away with.
The man shall be surely put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died as the Lord commanded Moses. So, withholding your foot from keeping the Sabbath is very, very dangerous. I mean, I know you in captivity, we in captivity. You gotta do what Esau tells you to do.
Yeah.
But if it's within your will to keep the 7-day Sabbath, and you have this, and you're able to keep the 7-day Sabbath, you better be keeping the Sabbath. You better be withholding from keeping your pleasure. You better be refraining from doing work just because you want to make a little bit extra money on a Saturday.
We got a request for Amos 8:5, Ezekiel 46:1, and Isaiah 66:23. So we'll look at the Amos 8:5 first.
Go ahead.
All right, Amos chapter 8, verse 5. I'm reading from my Hebrew Israelite scriptures.
Read out.
Saying, when will the new month be gone?
The new what?
When will the new month be gone? That we may sell corn and the Shabbat, and we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances by the sea. So the translation, I know your King James Bible says new moon, but it's new month because it's Kodash and not Yariach.
That's right.
And we know that the new month we established, showing you in Torah, that is the day that the congregation gathered together.
That's right.
It's like it's in their own right at the beginning of the month. The new month is a set apart day also.
That's right. We're not saying that you shouldn't keep the new moon as a high Sabbath. That's not what we're saying.
Right.
But we're trying to tell you it doesn't establish the 7-day Sabbath day. It just simply doesn't. We just showed you in 1 Samuel chapter 20. We just showed you showing you what day David had got the showbread. That was 3 days after the beginning of the month.
No, not 7, but 3 days.
I mean, we cut it. It's cut up.
So you also say Ezekiel 46:1.
Let's deal with it. You got it?
Yeah, Ezekiel 46:1.
Bring it out.
Thus says Adonai Elohim, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be open, and in the day of the new month it shall be open.
So they're trying to establish them as the same day? That's what it seems to me that you're trying to
But
do.
what's the difference?
Yeah, it puts a difference between the new moon, the new month, and the Sabbath day. Not saying that they're the same day. That's what you're trying to equate it as. That's a dummy doctrine.
And when you go back to Torah, the Sabbath and the high holy days, the congregation gathered together, and the new months, the congregation gathered together.
And we just showed you the new month wasn't even established till the Exodus. They counted days and weeks. So you can hold on to that dummy doctrine if you want to, but we already done cut it. And then they got cut earlier in the lesson.
And
Early.
nowhere in Torah does it say to count your Sabbath 7 days after the new month. Nowhere in the scriptures does it say that.
All right, give me the scripture where the transitional days are. That's what I'm waiting for. Give me the scripture that says that it's a transitional day and we're going to have a 6-day week or a 5-day week or whatever. It says 6 days shall work be done. Not 3 days from the new moon shall work be done, but 6 days.
And how the hell are you going to get a job following the lunar Sabbath? You know, to my boss, this month I need Tuesday off. Next month, when this new moon comes on, I want to need a Wednesday off. No, they ain't going to hire your black ass. Follow that lunar calendar. Let's look at Isaiah 66:23 real quick. Isaiah 66:23. And it shall come to pass that from one new Kodash, new month, to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come and worship before me, saith Yahweh. So remember, the references for the new month is Numbers chapter 10, verses 9 to 10, and Deuteronomy 16:1. That Israel is commanded to congregate at the beginning of the months, so they can be on the same accord coming into the feast days and high holy days.
Okay. From there we're going to go to the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17 through 20.
Figure out.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17 through 20. And it reads, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth shall pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever there shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven."
So if you teaching that we're supposed to follow this lunar calendar, you're gonna be called, you teach people men to break the commandments, and you're gonna be called least in the kingdom.
That's right. Cause that counting your week from that lunar, from the new month, new moon, it's off. We just showed you. Go back and read it. It's just that simple.
Yeah, the new moon is not a Hebrew term. It's new month. So how do you know what to look for in the sky in the first place?
From there, we're going to go to the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 41 and 47. The book of 1 Maccabees, verse 41 and 47, Salakia.
All right, starting at verse 41 then.
Yeah, bring it up.
All right, 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the children of Israel consented to his customs, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Yehuda, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drinks in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
And that's what they did. They profaned the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day is named after Saturn. You know, they profaned it. This is something that we got to go back to doing by keeping the 7th-day Sabbath. If you following after this lunar custom, that's an off doctrine. That don't come from us at all. In every language, the Sabbath has remained the Sabbath, except for in the English language. In Arabic, it's the Sabbath. In Chechenian, it's the Sabbath. In Indonesian, it's the Sabtu. And of course, in Spanish, you can ask any of our so-called Latino brethren, the Saturday is still the Sábado. Sábado means the Sabbath. It hasn't changed. The world is following the 7-day Hebrew calendars. Yeah, the names have changed from Sunday, which has been changed to the Sun's Day, Monday the Moon's Day, and Tuesday and Wednesday and so on and so forth, but it always has been day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and the 7th day was sanctified by the Most High as the Sabbath. It's his day.
We know that the calendar's out of whack going by the Gregorian and the Julian calendars, and we don't know what the actual years is, but the 7-day weekly cycle has never been interrupted.
Our calendars, the 7th-day Sabbath, was more accurate. As we brought in the previous lecture, the Romans, they followed the 12-day calendar. That's how you got 12 days of Christmas or 12 days of Saturnalia, because they had a 12-day calendar, and it was their weekly festival that lasted 12 days. The Egyptians had an 8-day calendar, so they are observing the 7-day calendar of the Hebrews. From there, we're going to go to the book of Sirach, chapter 43. The book of Sirach, chapter 43. And we're going to pick it up at verse 6. We're going to pick it up at verse 5. Great is the Lord that made it, and at his commandment runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times, and the sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast, and light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. So the new moon signifies the beginning of months, shining in her perfection. So it ain't the dim light that Esau using either. because it's shining in her perfection to signify the new month.
And it's interesting too, looking at verse 8 of Sirach 43, that it gave militaries an advantage of understanding the moon cycles, knowing when they could attack the enemy at strategic times, also during wartime. Yeah, so the moon does have a significant part in telling time, but not the way where has nothing to do with dictating when the Sabbath is.
Can. And it's not the beginning of the week. Come on now, modern day time, I tell you that. The 15th or the first day of the month ain't always the first day of the week. That's common sense. My son knows that.
Remember, we only get 354 days in the lunar year, because the moon falls 10 days behind the sun every year. So you can't get an accurate calendar of the Most High following the moon at all.
Can. From there, we're going to go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26. The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26. And it reads.
Oh, you're going to bring it down.
For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifices for sins.
No more sacrifice.
No more sacrifices for sins. And we done bought you out this truth.
That's good.
So if you decide you want to go ahead and you want to start the beginning of your week when it's really the middle of the week with your lunar Sabbath doctrine, go right ahead. Because we done went through all the precepts for you. And we done showed you from the beginning that the 7th-day Sabbath was established from the beginning. This is the commandment that you have heard from the beginning. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. On your so-called 6th day of the week, which is Friday, when the sun go down, that's when the Sabbath begins till the sun goes down on your so-called Saturday. So we went through all the precepts, and we done showed you the error in translations. So after this, hey, you can do what you want to do. We done did our job, and your blood is off of our hands.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay, and the Octagon has about Leviticus 23:30.
Let's go there.
All right, so it says, the question is, Leviticus 23, verse 34, King James Version. What day does that 15th day fall on? Leviticus 23:34 says, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of the 7th month shall be Chag Sukkot. You know, the Feast of Tabernacles, for 7 days unto Yahweh. On the first day shall be a holy convocation, ye shall do no servile work upon. I'm not sure about what the question, I don't have, but
Yeah, give us an understanding.
yeah, we don't have like a Hebrew calendar on us right now. This really doesn't have nothing to. How's this relate to the lunar Sabbaths?
That's what I want to know. Michael, this car, elaborate. Say what you mean. All of this stuff we bought, you should be confounded right now. Okay. Anybody else got any other questions? You got anything you want to add?
I just hope this lesson is edifying, and Philippians 2:12 says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So you got to know these scriptures for yourself. We can't always take the word from other men. We got to take the word that we get from the other men and put it to the test ourselves to see if this holds up to the scriptures or not. There's
right.
a lot of false prophets out there.
That's right, and we done gave you thus saith the Lord. We want to thank y'all all for watching. We want to give a shout out to Judah Knights of Israel. We want to give a shout out to brother Johan Esco and Michael Iskar. You are brother. We want to thank you for watching. You know, we want to give a shout out to brother Mark Daniels. We want to give a shout out to our brother Azariah Ephraim Yasserala.
Shalom.
Shalom, brother. We miss you, man. We need you, man. We want to give a shout out to brother Hosai Kanai. And anybody else we forget? Oh, we want to give a shout out to Rise the Chosen Mid-Atlantic, brother Uriel.
Shalom.
Brother Moshe, Sister D Chanel Israel. We want to give a shout out to Sister Natura Judah Israel. And
Priest Yazar, Jamal.
yeah, we want brother Jamal Smith, Priest Shazar Adderall. And we want y'all to stay tuned to Rise the Chosen, Truth Beyond the Surface Temple. And with that, we're gonna say shalom. Oh yeah, shout out to brother Christopher Ponte. Shalom, we hope to get you someday here to fellowship with us. Oh yeah, people saw the brother Mikael's YouTube channel, Mikael7. And with that, we say shalom. Kwum Yasharala.
Good Shalom.
Kwum Yasharala.
Good Shalom.
Kwum Yasharala.
Good Shalom.
Who's the king? Yahweh Shai. Who's the king? Yahweh Shai. Who's the king? Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai.
Barak Atha, y'all.
Peace.